with MoMA, it's one of the most important things that we do every year, and we keep on working together, not only this moment, but during all the months that cover an entire year, and also during the retrospective, because every day is growing the number of movies. I flew in that were 35, then 38, now 39, so it's good news for the audiences. I would like to start saying thank you because I'm here speaking, but we have a lot of people in Cinecittà that are not speaking now, but are acting and creating this type of event. Camilla Pormanni is here. Thank you, Camilla, for Marco Cicala is here as well. And not only who lives in Cinecittà, in Rome, but also who lives in New York, like Sally Fisher. Thank you so much. This is the second day, but it's important like the first day. First of all, because this movie, this documentary, it's a real gem. It's a real gem because it represents really why Morricone is a unique composer in the history of the movie business. And it's unique not only for the result of his music that we all know and we all love, but it's pretty unique for the variety of what he's done. And the peculiar way in which he was able, being so, he didn't like to talk too much, he didn't like to interact too much, but he was able to enter in connection with movie directors as probably anyone else. And this, at the end of the day, is the secret of Morricone. He was able to translate the will, the vision of film directors in music in an incredible way, with an incredible taste and incredible sensibility. And speaking about the relationship between Ennio Morricone, such a giant of the Italian art, and the director, Giuseppe Tornatore, it's in some way the ideal director in his life. The relationship that they created was pretty unique, was a human relationship. And in this documentary, you can see what could be shown only to Giuseppe. I had the chance to work with them on an amazing movie of Giuseppe that was the best offer. At that time I was working in Warner Brothers and we could produce the movie in Italy. And it was incredible how Ennio was in the movie from the very beginning, how they did it together. So when you see music being so much part of all the movies when Morricone worked, it's not the case. They did it together, they bring it together, the story, the music and the emotion. And this is the magic connected to Morricone career. Having said that, I'm very happy also for the chance that I have to introduce the two guys that are coming after me, because they deserve this stage much more than me, because they have not only the blood, but also the soul of their father, and I'm really honored to introduce Marco Morricone and Giovanni Morricone.
Thank you. Thank you for the who. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Josh, and all the MoMA, really for this amazing retrospective that you're doing. It's really an incredible honor to have our father's work being recognized in this incredible place that is represents so much for the culture of the world. Part of actually our mission is actually to keep as children of such an amazing dad, not just a composer but also an amazing dad, is really to keep his legacy alive. And through the retrospective you're going to see an incredible amount of films that probably use music you've never seen because you've never heard, and also the movies that you've never seen, that represents really the capacity of dad really to change and adapt, and at the same time to be faithful to himself and to what he had in mind. It's not by chance, like Nicola was saying before, that actually this retrospective started with two movies, basically Cinema Paradiso, which was the first collaboration between Giuseppe and Dad, and then the documentary Ennio, where basically Dad is also the subject matter and of the documentary. In the end, there were many chances throughout the years to do documentaries, but Dad never accepted them, and actually it's curious And my brother Marco here was reminding me, so he was suggesting me what to say because I'm not very good at speaking. So, but how this incredible collaboration started in the documentary. The two producers came in, they said that maybe they wanted to do a documentary on him with the directing of Tornatore. Dad was very silent person, he wasn't speaking too much. So he said, okay, fine. Give me a minute. So he went to his own studio, and that you're gonna see is really kind of almost a metaphysical representation of what was going on in his mind. And then basically he came back, and then he said, okay, I'm gonna do it. The producer went out, they called Tornatore, and they said, he said he's gonna do it. And Tornatore responded, yes, I already know, he called me while you were actually waiting in the living room. So he was really the only person that Dad was going to basically open himself up in the way he did. And this because really there was this spark of energy, of creativity energy, really this short circuit that was happening between two of them that was allowing really for my dad to open himself up personally in a personal relationship, friendly relationship, and also in a creative way. So Giuseppe was always somewhat challenging him, and Dad was really responding in a way that was producing some of his best work. So anyway, I leave my brother Marco to speak, who is much better than I am. So.
Buonasera a tutti, io parlerò italiano perché non sono così bravo con l'inglese. Giovanni ha ringraziato tante persone, io aggiungo anche due persone in particolare a cui teniamo molto. Il maestro Zimmer, che è qui in sala, che aveva tanto affetto e tanta stima per papà, peraltro anche ricambiata.
So I want to really add a few things really to what Giovanni was saying, me, which is first of all thanking really Maestro Zimmer that Dad really considered a great composer, and also that always expressed so much admiration for Dad as well.
E Gisella Marengo, che è qua, che non vedo, che ha collaborato con tanta energia e tanto affetto, sia per Peppuccio Tornatore che per papà, a questo lavoro.
And also want to thank Gisella Marengo, who is a very close friend of ours and also a great friend of Giuseppe Tornatore and Dad, and has put so much effort into this work that really was conducive to this evening.
E anche Cinecittà. E anche Cinecittà, le persone che sono qui, il zio che è Nicola Maccanico, Camilla, Marco, che sono dei compagni di viaggio fantastici, e poi ringraziare anche noi famiglia, perché abbiamo sicuramente i risultati di papà, che sono stati dei risultati, spero, belli e entusiasmanti. Sono anche figli di qualche piccola rinuncia.
So I want to thank also not just basically everybody, including MoMA, who has made this amazing retrospective, but also somewhat our own selves. Me in particular, I'm joking. But actually, because fundamentally Dad's journey has been somewhat also a mirror of our journey, and somewhat also we went through in his path to similar walks, living with him closely what were actually sometimes the angst of creation.
Noi purtroppo noi siamo vissuti finché eravamo adolescenti nella casa con papà, ed era purtroppo proibito ascoltare musica. Ed è una cosa quasi paradossale, perché noi siamo cresciuti senza musica, ma non ascoltavamo niente, ma neanche la sua, perché rischiava di confondersi. Quindi la sua vita è stata completamente assorbita e chiusa in una bolla, diciamo così, ed è stata sicuramente una rinuncia ben spesa, se vogliamo, però sicuramente è stato un piccolo disagio per la nostra adolescenza. Però quando ci troviamo ad andare a vedere un film così emozionante, e ripeto, io l'avrò veduto forse 25 o 30 volte, ancora mi emoziona e mi fa scoprire qualcosa di più di papà.
So, all our life has been somewhat, as Marco was saying, mirroring really what was going on Dad's life. And in particular, then we want to share an anecdote. We were forbidden actually to listen to music in the house because, of course, it was throwing him off fundamentally. So only until late, basically, we heard about Michael Jackson or other people. Basically, we had to wait to be of age and get out of the apartment. But joking aside, but still, basically, as we walk, as we see this documentary, as Marco was reflecting that, is still a possibility to rediscover Dad as a person and also as a composer, and who is not stopping us from actually still enjoying every time we are rewatching it.
Bene, buona visione a tutti e speriamo che vi piaccia. Però esce fuori, la cosa bella di questo film, che esce fuori l'uomo oltre che il compositore. E questo sono due aspetti diversi di una stessa persona.
So we hope that you're going to love the documentary as we do, and one thing that actually is going to be coming out really for sure is not only the amazing composer that he was, but also the incredible man and that he has been.
Grazie, buona visione.
Now we just have one surprise guest for you, who came all this way to be with us this afternoon. I've been thinking a lot about what a film composer does over the last year, and it seems to me that we think of them as authors of music, but actually they're really authors of sound. And I think we don't privilege sound enough when we think about cinema, and one of the things that I've been enjoying over the last year is really being more attuned to the way that sound is created for images and the way that they are interwoven. And I think we kind of live in awe of composers because they inhabit a world that maybe we don't, and they're much more attuned to the oral world around us. I think all roads in some sense lead to Morricone, at least in the post-war history of cinema. I hope our guest would agree that he has been one of his inspirations. But I think also what they share is a really passionate interest in discovering new ways of conveying sound by marrying electronic sounds with classical instrumentation, or finding noise as musique concrète to incorporate into a soundscape, into a soundtrack. So I'm really grateful that Hans Zimmer could be with us today. Sounds like everyone. I'm going to introduce him anyway because why not? Hans, as it sounds like everyone knows, but in any case, he's won Oscars and Grammys and nominated for Tonys, but he's the author of everything from The Lion King to Dune, and works very closely with Ridley Scott and Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve, and I think you've written probably around 200 scores at this point, so you're not counting. In any case, you still have a ways to go. Absolutely. You have a ways to go with Morricone. Thank you for being here.
No, let me give you two tiny anecdotes. And I haven't seen the film, so if they're in the film, I apologize. And if they're different, I apologize for lying. But I hope neither will occur. I come from a very Germanic, very highbrow. Art is everything, and cinema. Actually, it was television. Was the end of culture as we know it. And cinema, when I was a kid, cinema was for grown-ups, and so I never got to see a film until I was 12 years old. And I snuck in through the back door into the little cinema in our little village, and I saw Once Upon a Time in the West. And I went, this is it. This is it. And all those classical composers I heard, all that classical music I heard, I discovered that there was a man writing with equal quality, with equal sincerity, with equal knowledge, with equal everything, genius, music. And Leone will never forgive me, but this is what I felt as a 12-year-old. It was very nice that there were these images supporting this beautiful music. So, wind forward many years, again, it's a family thing. My mother, who spoke 7 languages, I think. We're in Bonn. We are in Bonn. I don't know why we're in Bonn. I don't know why Ennio is in Bonn. But we're in Bonn, and my mother speaks fluent Italian. I speak no Italian. And my mother and Ennio are chatting up a storm, etc. And they decide to go to the Beethoven house together and take me along. So Ennio, my mother, and I go to the Beethoven house. And they are very nice. They pull out all the original manuscripts for us. For Ennio, not for me, right? And Ennio spends the afternoon singing Beethoven to me. And it was probably that and Once Upon a Time in the West were the most decisive moments in my life of why I became and who I became, and why I became what I wanted to become because of this man. And his work ethic, and his knowledge, and his imagination, and his fearlessness in discovering new sounds and using them to sometimes make a movie that might not, or scene, or something that wasn't quite as fabulous as it could have been, into a masterpiece. Consistently making things into a masterpiece. He truly showed me the way, and whenever we could